What is Runa? So Runa is the sacred debt. Runa means sacred debt. And what is sacred debt? What is the meaning of sacred? Pavitramaina. Koliya. What Koli? Holy. Okay. Oh, fine. Holy, right? Yes. Okay. Got it. Understand. Yes. Holy. Yes. So, what is the meaning of debt? What is debt? Debt and enti? Not just in the money term. What is debt? What exactly would be the debt? తిరిగి ఇవ్వాల్సింది. Obligation to return it back. So debt means the obligation to pay it back, return it back, to pay back, return back. So now coming to the meaning of Runa, a good concept in Hindu philosophy where it represents the sacred debt, that is obligations every individual inherits from the birth. By birth he gets this concept of Runa, where during his course of life he has to repay that obligation. So just because he was born as a human, he inherits this Runa towards his parents, towards his teachers, towards fellow beings, towards society, towards environment, which on a whole he has to repay it back. He has an obligation to repay it back by doing his duties. Understand? So this concept is referred to as Runa. Ardhamautunda? Where I would say the Runas comprise both spiritual and ethical responsibilities. Ethical responsibilities. What is responsibility? Badyata ante? Yes. Where you have to perform your action. You are expected to do some action. You have to. So that is responsibility. Understand? What is accountability? Answerable to what? Yes, answerable to what you did, what you not did. That is accountability. So that is being responsible towards your actions is accountability. So here the Runa, which promote this concept of spiritual and ethical responsibilities towards performing his duties. Towards performing his duties in repaying the debt. So that is Runa. Ardhamautunda? So Runa is where it embodies the spiritual and ethical responsibility, saying, emphasizing that he has to repay back his Runa, repay back his obligations by performing duties. What are the duties we have studied? Again, you go back and read about the karma. So the duties is performed by the action called karma. So these actions while pursuing his goals of dharma, artha, kama. Ardhamautunda? Everywhere integration of these concepts. So Runa ante enti? Nee responsibility, appu teerche responsibility or paying back responsibility. So దానికి నువ్వు డ్యూటీ పర్ఫామ్ చేసి నువ్వు పే చేయాలి. సో ఆ డ్యూటీస్ పర్ఫామ్ చేసేదాన్నే కర్మ అంటాను. ఆ కర్మాస్ అగైన్ ఆ కర్మ ఎట్లా చేయాలి? అగైన్ యూ హ్యావ్ టు సాటిస్ఫై యువర్ పురుషార్థాస్, ధర్మాన్ని, అర్థాన్ని, కామాన్ని అనే ఆ సాటిస్ఫై చేస్తూ నువ్వు నీ పని నువ్వు చేయాలి. అలా యూ షుడ్ పే బ్యాక్. ఫర్ ఎగ్జాంపుల్, ఇఫ్ ఐ కెన్ సే, సో ఇన్ ద గృహస్థ ఆశ్రమ హీ హ్యాస్ టు వాట్ షుడ్ హీ డూ? హీ హ్యాస్ టు డూ ద ritual things, pay back or puja towards ancestors, where he repaybacks his debt towards ancestors by following this dharmic karma. Understand? Taking care of elders, taking care of his parents, artha. Understand? Artha, where in every action, every karma, he has to repay his debt, which is called as runa. Which is called as runa. Where this left out runa will hamper, will stop him in achieving moksha. అర్థమవుతుందా? సో కర్మ అంటే చేసే పని. ఎందుకు చేయాలి పని? నాకు రుణం ఉంది కాబట్టి ఆ రుణాన్ని తీర్చుకోవాలి. సో ఈ రుణాన్ని తీర్చుకునే పరంగా నేను కర్మలు చేస్తాను. ఈ కర్మలు అన్నీ మళ్ళీ ప్రతి నేనున్న స్టేజ్ బట్టి, నా వర్ణాన్ని బట్టి, సో ఐ షుడ్ బి ఫాలోయింగ్ ధర్మ. అండర్స్టాండ్? మళ్ళీ ఆ కర్మను బట్టి నాకు కొంచెం ప్లస్ అవుతుంది, కొంచెం మైనస్ అవుతుంది. సో దట్ అగైన్ ఐ క్యారీ యాజ్ మై బ్యాగేజ్. సో దిస్ ఈజ్ ద బేసిక్ ఫిలాసఫీ ఆఫ్ పురుషార్థాస్ విత్ ద లింకింగ్ ఆఫ్ కర్మ అండ్ రిణ. అండర్స్టాండ్? అర్థమవుతుందా? లింక్ టు యువర్ ఎగ్జామ్. It will be very easy. Take the analogy of your exam. Karma, you have to study. If you don't study, you cannot check all the boxes which UPSC wants you to. You didn't check this box, you didn't check this box. You sit for another attempt. That is your rebirth. And you still carry this. And you had very good subject. You had put very efforts in a previous attempt. So that will be carried as good thing here. You carry that. You study now. You also carry the fruitfulness. You ignore now. You had done very good in the previous attempt, but you don't study completely for this year. You carry the bad thing now. That will be lost. Understand? Just connect this. Then, మీ పురుషార్థాస్ ఏంటి? You need to clear the exam. You need to find that holy list, that holy PDF. So that is your moksha here. So just link this and you will get number of examples. You can easily understand this concept. అర్థమవుతుందా? So everything is interconnected here. Right? Then, what are the different kinds of runa? Different types of kinds of runa debts one has to satisfy. One has to pay back. So one is daiva runa or deva runa. That is debt towards the divine forces, debt towards God, debt towards deity, divine, deity, daiva. That is daiva runa. And how will he perform this? How will he satisfy this? By doing worships, rituals, sacrifices. It need not be even the same, the materialist sacrifices, even the emotional sacrifices, offerings. So all these things, by doing this, he will pay back daiva runa. Understand? అర్థమవుతుందా? Offerings. Then, so the next one. So what is the next one? Pitru runa. What is Pitru runa? Towards not just parents, towards ancestors. So those are also your Pitrus. Towards ancestors and parents. How many of you know your great grandfather's name? At least ఇప్పుడు కనుక్కోండి. Your grandfather's father. తెలీదా? కనుక్కోండి. So that you are not even remembering them. So debt to the ancestors and parents who provided you a life, lineage. You who provided a life, lineage. So where you perform the rituals for ancestors, taking care of your parents, elderly care. So by this you perform Pitru runa. By taking care of your parents, performing rituals, continuing family traditions. So all this, by this you perform the Pitru runa. So the other kind of runa, the third one is Rushi runa. What is Rushi runa? sages and yes, sages and teachers. చదువుకొని వచ్చినాడా? మంచిదే కదా, బాగా ఈజీ ఉంటుంది కదా. మీరు కూడా ఆ పని చేస్తే ఇంకా ఈజీ కదా. sages and teachers. So the duty towards sages and teachers, where they help in transmitting of the wisdom, transmission of wisdom, and also by studying texts and passing it to the future generation. So whatever the knowledge you learn from your teacher, you pass it to the next generation. So that is how you repay back Rushi Runa, passing to the next generation, transmission to the next generation. Right? Understand? Then, so there is two more, like Manushya Runa. Manushya Runa. That means, what do you mean by Manushya Runa? Debt towards humanity, people, society. So towards humanity, society. Understand? So where you repay through the service, you repay through the compassion, ethical contribution to the society, welfare, social welfare, upholding the social responsibilities by social welfare responsibilities. By this you repay back this Manushya Runa. Then the last one is Bhuta Runa. What is Bhuta Runa? Yes. What is Panchabhuta? Fire, land, air, water. What is the next? Sky. And in their meaning, universe. So where you repay back. So debt to. So what does this mean is, in general terms, it means debt towards environment, debt towards all living beings and non-living beings, debt towards living and non-living. Understand? So where you, by compassion towards animals, sustainable living, respecting the environment. So this is how the different types of Runa you pay back by your actions. Deva Runa, respecting or paying back to the God, spiritual, and Pitru Runa towards ancestors, Rushi Runa towards teachers or guides or mentors, and then Manushya Runa, humanity towards the society, and finally Bhuta Runa towards environment. Not just one, that is one component of the Pitru Runa. That is one component of the Pitru Runa. Right from respecting, right from taking care, right from whatever ritual thing. So everything comes under the Pitru Runa. That is just one component of the Pitru Runa. So these are the different things associated with this Runa. Right? Then finally, the last concept of this first chapter, rebirth. What do you mean by rebirth? Punarjanma. So why rebirth happens? Because he has failed to achieve the moksha, because there was no proper karma. He failed to achieve the moksha. That is, this is known as reincarnation. Reincarnation, which means, so there is a cyclical continuation of the spirit. The spirit transforms from one being to the other being. Reincarnation, the cyclical continuation of the spiritual or spirit, importance of the cyclical continuation of the spirit. Right? Where it acquires new bodily forms with karmic patterns. Again comes with the Sanchit karma and the Runa. again a new birth. He comes with the Sanchit karma. He comes Runa. Again he has to perform all the duties. He has to perform his karma. He has to go through all the 4 stages of the life. Again, in that life he has to find out his Purusharthas again. And during this course again he has to realize the meaning of the moksha. If not, again he will be born again. So this is the rebirth where. So generally what happens is, the Hindu tradition, it typically frames rebirth in terms of transmigration of the soul. Transmigration of the soul. Whereas Buddhism says that it is based on the principle of there is Ananta, a concept of Ananta or Annata antaru anamata dintlo, ANATTA. That means there is no one single individual, no self. Nuvu ane concept ledu in the Buddhism. The soul will be moving. So that is the same concept in the Buddhism, where they describe rebirth as a continuation of casual stream of the consciousness. Your spiritual consciousness will be continuously taking new forms of the life. So that is Anatta by Buddhism. So what is rebirth? What are the different things that determine the rebirth? So whatever the predominant actions, predominant karma, that accumulated actions during the course of the life. So that is the most important thing that will decide the rebirth. And along with this, the quality of the consciousness at the moment of the death, which explains the emphasis on maintaining a positive awareness during the dying process. So this also decides the quality of the rebirth. The quality of the death decides the quality of the rebirth according to the Hindu philosophy. For example, just like the Hindu philosophy says, strong unfulfilled desires and strong attachments which are drawn from the consciousness. So this will be carried back to the next stage. So that is what emphasized in the Hindu philosophy. Tirani korikal, or else whatever he has got attachments. So that will be carried in the next birth also, giving him a second chance to deject it, to get spiritual attainment, spiritual liberation. Understand? So this is the concept of the rebirth. This is the concept of the rebirth. Arthamainda? Any doubts till now? Arthamainda? Karma ante enti arthamainda? Runa ante enti arthamainda? Rebirth ante enti arthamainda? So how to integrate varna, ashrama, purusharthas, karma, runa and rebirth. Now tell me, how does a Neanderthal is linked to this? How does your primate is linked to this? That is the beauty of anthropology. And one thing you study about evolution, science and all, and one thing you study about philosophy. సరే మరి ప్రైమేట్ ఎవల్యూషన్ వాళ్ళకేం చెప్తావు పోయి డార్విన్కి, హెర్బర్ట్ స్పెన్సర్కి. సో ఇప్పుడు చెప్పను. దెర్ ఈస్ వన్ వెరీ బ్యూటిఫుల్ వెబ్ సిరీస్, యూ మైట్ హ్యావ్ వాచ్ ఇట్ ఆల్రెడీ ఆల్సో. దెర్ ఈస్ వన్ థింగ్ కాల్డ్ 100 అని ఒక వెబ్ సిరీస్ ఉంటుంది నెట్ఫ్లిక్స్లో అనుకుంటా. అనా ఇంగ్లీష్లో ఉండేది, ఇప్పుడు తెలుగులో ఏమైనా వచ్చిందేమో తెలియదు. అంటే చాలా పెద్ద వెబ్ సిరీస్, ఆల్మోస్ట్ ఇట్ టేక్స్ అరౌండ్ మేబీ 100 hours ఆఫ్ యువర్ టైం. సో కాబట్టి బాగా బోర్ కొట్టినప్పుడు చూడండి, అదే పనిగా కూర్చొని 5 రోజులు చూడొద్దు. అప్పుడు ఒక గంట, వారంకి ఒక 2 గంటలు అలా చూస్తా అంటే చూడండి. వేర్ హీ బ్యూటిఫుల్లీ కనెక్ట్స్ దిస్ కాన్సెప్ట్ ఆఫ్ స్పిరిచువాలిటీ అండ్ ద సైన్స్. The scientific or whatever this web series I have watched till now, the only thing which has connected this thing, the science and spirituality. Time దొరికితే చూడండి.